and we'll take another question from someone else.
Okay. So these three products
No,
have
so, these three products.
these three products have a value price point, they meet consumer demands, and they have quality merch support that surround them. So they will be a great hit come January. What questions do you have?
And stay relaxed.
So there are three flavors that are coming out: dark chocolate cranberry, almond, and peanut butter. Do you have a favorite off the bat?
Nice, she used a question to engage.
Dark almond.
Why do you like dark almond?
Dark chocolate is very on trend, and almond is also one of those power nuts that are on trend right now.
Correct, and like I said, the almonds and peanuts are our first ingredient, and that's one of the things that our consumers,
Now leave Kaya.
that's one of the things that our consumers are looking for as one of our first ingredients rather than the coating, which leads to that less sugar in our bars. Any other questions?
I like how you're finding confidence in leaving the questioner and ending elsewhere. There was a lot of silence in the room. Way to plant the challenging behavior without interrupting. We have questions for her, right? But I love the way you managed that. You went right into, we've got three flavors coming out. Which one do you think is most useful? That's a great example of finding another open-ended question to get people talking. Nicely done, Claire. Round of applause. Who's next? All right, Kaya. Deliver your closing as you did this morning. Beautiful.
February is crucial for soup season. It's the end, and we need to make sure that we have our palette plan set by Friday to ensure that we can deliver higher volume, better efficiencies, and higher margin in
Relax.
February.
Relax.
What questions do you have, Scott?
Let's give her a question.
Is there going to be any marketing support around this key holiday time?
Scott, that's fabulous. We have full surround.
Is
Weight
it
Watchers?
Is it fabulous?
No. No, it isn't.
Right into the answer.
Scott, we have full surround around Progresso in February.
Now relax your hands.
Not only do we have Weight Watchers, which I know you're a big believer in, we also have taped TV, social media, and we're gonna have overlay couponing support.
Is this a one-on-one, Kaya?
Yeah,
Let's pretend it's not, for the sake of practicing answering to all.
okay,
Let's eliminate Scott
okay.
and pretend you've
pretend it's
delivered this to
everyone.
multiple people. Another question for Kaya. Kaya, checking in with you. As you answer, your hands come really close. This is a
yeah.
safe place for you. Be really conscious about coming back to home base. Balance those feet, a little bit of separation so you don't lean side to side and go to this closed nature. All right? Another question for Kaya. Multiple people to answer to now.
Should I take multiple different sugar options or several of the same?
It's gonna be multiple sugar options, one for each week that we're on for the deals. So we're gonna feature traditional and
so.
light.
Pause, and then where?
We will feature traditional and light for the big week on 2/23. For the first 2 weeks of the month, we're gonna feature Veg Classics. And the Weight Watchers program will be all light Weight Watchers event.
And check back in with Claire for closure. Did she answer your question? Did you get the closure you needed?
Yes.
How does it feel when they leave the questioner and start including you?
Like you're engaged in the conversation.
You're still part of the conversation. When you stay too long, say more than 2 sentences, it starts feeling like a one-on-one.
Right.
You want to make sure that everyone continues to stay engaged. Remember that volume. You have no volume issues until you get up in front. Just keep that volume up. Nicely done. Nicely done. Round of applause for Claire. All right. Who's next? Nicole. delivering your closing. Line up, wrap.
I encourage you to look past the surface of what you see at Northwest Arkansas and the Walmart Business Center. Plan a trip in the next few weeks and come down and see what you think. Who knows, maybe you'll find that Arkansas is your hidden gem as well. What questions do you guys have?
Can you talk a little bit about what specific roles are available in the business center?
Yeah. So in our business
No,
center,
so, in our business center.
in the Walmart Business Center, you can get every experience except for PSM. We've recently added a trade point in our office, so you can even get that down there now.
Now lead, Katie, nice.
For me, I've only done my BMA position, so that's all that I know personally. However, we have positions on both the category side and the planning side, so you can get both experiences.
And she checked back in with Katie for closure. Feedback. Let's take another one. Continue answering to all. Let's add some movement and bring that volume up too. Let's just start with the who knows the benefit. You may just find a hidden gem. Does someone have a question ready for her? Volume and move.
Who knows? Maybe you'll find Northwest Arkansas is your hidden gem as well. What questions do you guys have?
You discussed what you do to welcome the associates in your associates club. How do you welcome non-associates or people in more senior levels?
So, no, sorry.
Good catch.
At the
Volume up, Nicole, way up.
At the Walmart Business Center, we do a welcome breakfast for anyone who joins our office. We do these 3 times a year. It's important for everyone to get to know who are the new faces in the office. Your manager will introduce you to everyone, give a little bit of background about yourself, and then give you a chance to say anything additional.
What was the difference there? Katie, you said nice and got a big smile on your
Yeah.
face. What made you say that?
You were really engaged and your volume came up when you walked across, so it was almost like you couldn't look away.
Nice. And your adjective on the top of your sheet is engaging, right? Isn't that you? Did you have engaged or engaging on the top of your sheet?
Confident and really
Oh, relatable. Even so, connected, your volume went up, much more relatable and drawn in, according to Katie. That is very priceless feedback. Thank you very much, Katie. Thank you. All right, next taker. Casey. Let's continue incorporating some movement. Now that we've seen with Nicole firsthand how it changes. We also discovered that when we were talking about the conference calls, what you could hear differently in their voice when they moved. So let's go ahead and keep it in Q&A as well. Relax your hands, volume up, focus on eyes, Casey.
NRO execution at Sam's Club is critical to the success of General Mills. The 2 priorities that we have for you are merge compliance and Sam's Club events. If we execute behind these, then we'll surely win and have great sales and hit all of our sales goals. What questions do you guys have?
2 quick check-ins. As you said, what questions do you have? You took a gigantic step backwards and closed your hand in front of your eyes.
What questions do you
What questions do you have? Please don't ask any. Right? Try that again with open posture, feet stay planted.
Okay.
Just what questions do you
What questions do you have?
Do you have a sell sheet for us to go against these?
We do have sales sheets. 2 of them were earlier in the presentation.
have? Did you feel your big side step? You do have some
Okay.
sheets.
annoyed.
Stay planted. Now, that doesn't mean I don't want you to move. If you're going to move with purpose.
Okay.
We do that all the time.
Keep planted over on this side, and I'd love to see Ark and Parkwood, we do have cell sheets.
Okay.
Now,
And
tidbit,
you can manage
cautious
time.
when you're going to, use caution when you're going to incorporate movement that we don't. I'm gonna do this in front so it's easier for you all to see. Watch the difference. We do have cell sheets. See how I stepped with this foot, but I'm looking over here? Now watch the difference. Inside leg, we do have cell sheets that are accompanying this rollout.
Got it.
See the difference? This suddenly becomes awkward, and I'm trying to connect with Hannah, but I'm walking this way. So when we do inside step, focusing in the air, in the direction of your movement,
Okay.
all right?
Yeah, we got cell sheets.
All right.
I was the rep that was leaving.
Nice and relaxed. Careful when I'm coaching you to relax your hands, you're bringing them down and clenching them. Keep them really, really relaxed. And let's just start with the cell sheets question, your response with movement.
We do have cell sheets. I showed a couple previously in the.
Try it again. Back off to the side, 3 full steps, all the way to the other side of the table. Not a big side step to the middle. 3 or 4 hallway pace steps to the other side of the table. Stay focused on Kaya.
We do have cell sheets. 2 of them were shown earlier in the presentation, and then there's additional ones that go out as events come up or as ISB executions come out.
Now, better on the movement, I'm giving you lots of things to think about here.
Yeah.
That became a one-on-one. We do
Okay.
have cell sheets. If the answer was going to be that brief, finish that answer with someone else.
Okay.
All right? Let's take one more question for Casey. Stay relaxed, Casey. Will you do me a favor and take one step back away from the table, freeing yourself
Yep.
up spatially? There you go.
What questions do you have?
I'm super busy. What if I don't have time to do everything you asked us to do?
Totally, that, I understand that.
Okay, do you understand how busy Tony is?
No.
No. I understand. I've been there. I know you're really busy. All of those phrases, avoid them.
Okay.
You may run the risks, similar to good question, you may run the risk of, you don't know how busy I am.
Right.
Right? Of creating some defensiveness. Now, this question is bordering on challenging. I'm really busy. How do you expect me to? This might be an opportunity for art.
Way to go, Tony.
Tony, will you give the question one more time?
I'm really busy, but if I don't have time to do everything you asked.
Right. So it's our job to lay out our priorities
Right,
to you.
so,
It's our job to lay out the priorities that we think you should be working on. And I think that our top priority for you would be
our
event.
top priority. Not and, I think our
Oh,
top priority.
our top priority would be to execute around events.
Did that give you what you needed? Did you get an acknowledgement?
Yes,
What was it?
that she understands I'm busy. What? Oh, the acknowledgement?
I didn't hear it. Time is precious to all of us. There's an acknowledgement. Time, no one has all of us feel so strapped for time.
Right.
Time is always an issue. We have tools in place that will ultimately take some of this work off your plate and connect to benefits. Try that one more time with ARC. Acknowledge, respond, finish on benefits for Tony.
Time is very important to us. I get that.
Leave out the I get that. Time is really important.
Okay. Time is really important. You can prioritize the different, okay.
Relax those hands.
Time is limited. We've prioritized for you. We think that the best use of your time would be to sell in the events. In doing this, you'll be able to efficiently use your time and make sure to capitalize on the big dollar rings.
Finishing off Tony, so he doesn't throw you another challenging question.
Toodles.
All right, thank you for playing along. Can you hear the difference when some of that tentative language goes away? Instead of we think, just there are tools in place.
You tell him you
Mhm.
prioritize.
I mean,
I think it's a
Much more
Whoa.
concise in your answer.
Yeah. Oh, you did?
Who's next?
Somebody.
You'll do what I say.
All right, Kiera. Good, relax those hands, plant those feet. Volume up.
Review sessions for sales tools at national sales are long overdue and should be a high priority. Doing so will allow us to produce a more efficient sales team, drive business results, and save money in the end. By end of December, I ask that you let us know if we can move forward with these sessions, how much resources you're gonna allot to do that, and what 2 or 3 main areas you wanna focus on. What questions do you guys have?
As a former field sales team member yourself, what kind of training do you think would be most beneficial?
As a former convenience store field rep, I feel as
Stay
though
connected and eyes.
I feel as though we need to put some emphasis on conveyance since we do have a growth expectation to double or grow our business 5 times in the next 5 years. So
Period, new set of eyes.
the next 5 years, I think bringing forth things like our category captaincy capabilities, our virtual store capabilities will be a great addition, especially since that team is only a year and a half out and none of them have been at headquarters HQ.
All right, Kiara, jumping in.
Yep.
Keep your sentences shorter so that you have the opportunity via the eye connection skill to connect with more listeners. Started with Katie, had a hard time finding the period. We got you there. And then were you with Hannah? You stayed with her for what could have been 3 sentences. They just keep getting longer and longer. Find a period and a new set of eyes. Try that again.
As a former convenience store field rep, I feel as though we need to add some focus there. That team is brand new, and they've only been out in the field for a year and a half. So we need to showcase a lot more of our convenience store capabilities, such as our category captaincies and our virtual store capabilities at national sales.
And check back in with Katie. No words, just a quick nonverbal check-in.
Thank you.
What was the difference in that take prior to this one? What did you see?
Much more confident in your response. I felt like you knew exactly what you wanted to say and you just said it versus getting to it eventually.
Simply by shortening your sentences, pausing and finding the new set of eyes. Listen when you watch this back, how up talk tends to creep back in.
Okay.
Ending your sentences on the up. We're gonna really focus on bringing them down. Also listen to how much more effective that sounds by breaking those sentences up into shorter tidbits. Nicely done. Round of applause. All right, Lindsay. Deliver that close.
O&D volume is at risk. Today I want your approval to upsell at the division level. This requires no work on your part. I'll utilize our field cams to go specifically into the division level and upsell all those cases. So that we can make sure that we make up that incremental merch volume, so that we provide that unique product offering, and so that we win together with Kroger during the key holiday season.
And hands are at your side.
What questions do you have?
The holidays are a big time for a lot of categories. How much space am I gonna have to give you incrementally to put these cookies in?
Is this a challenging question? How much space am I gonna have to allot for you?
That's a
Depends
pretty
on your
regular,
account.
that's
Depends
a
on your
pretty regular
customer.
question from a buyer.
All right, let's go with it.
Clear out some attitude.
I meant it to be a little challenging.
Let's push that. Let's reword that question and really add a super challenging element. Throw on the actor's hat here. Ask it again with some attitude.
Okay. The holidays are a really busy time. I've got multiple manufacturers coming in wanting that extra incremental display space. Why should I give it to your cookies?
The holidays are a key holiday time. We fortunately already have that display space blocked off on key events. So we will utilize those events
And
As our key-
leave, Claire.
as our key holiday displays. And from there, if the cookie volume still exists
Hands down.
and there is space, then they can continue to stay in cookie bunkers.
Now, you opted to end on Claire. Are you ready for another challenging question? All right. Let's try that one more time. Volume up. Throw in some movement. Get some passion around it by bringing movement to your body, and end elsewhere. Okay. She just asked the question.
The holiday times are a key sorry, let me start. The holiday times are a key time for holiday space. It's always an issue. However, fortunately, we have events.
Ooh, however. The however just pause. Fortunately.
The key holiday times are an important time for space. Fortunately, we have display space recognized during key holiday events. At this time, our seasonal cookies will be in the bunkers anyways. So if the product overspills and there still exists, we can just keep them in the bunkers if the space is available.
And she ended on Kiera. See the difference? Really nice. Volume was up. Something happens with inflection when you choose to move. Your voice has more energy. You'll see the difference. Thank you. All right. We have left Derek, Tony, Katie, and Hannah. You are the lucky recipients of the challenging behavior exercise. All right, Derek, would you please leave the room while we choose your challenging behavior? And we'll welcome you back in shortly.
Lindsay, I knew you could handle it, that's why I asked it.
That's a normal, those aren't challenging questions at Meyer or at Kroger, like that's every day.
I meant it to be a
There's only
little
one question
edgy.
to
A lot of times, it's not necessarily the question itself, it's
How they're
rather
asked.
how it's asked.
That's so-
She could ask it in one way, and it could be very much informational, how much space do I need to allot? Or it could be, it's a crazy time for me, how much space do you expect me to make for this?
And
For the
how bad
difference?
they are about it.
Right, really depends on the
But if they're
tone.
giving
I mean,
you
I
an
guess
attitude,
the
tone,
Yeah.
I feel like that's their regular almost,
Mhm.
and that's just their baseline, so no one ever, they're not saying it as a challenge, they're just saying it as, why do you get that space?
Right,
And they're just being aggressive.
and then that's
to push you
where it's
back.
your job to sell.
Yeah.
Absolutely, how you respond, how you handle that. You'll
I feel like
decide
that
on
will
the
be
fly.
every day, all day.
You feel it inside when someone's challenging you versus just putting out a genuine objection that needs to be dealt with. You have to decide that on the fly. And that's where you automatically go, is it standard response or arc?
And you know your
Their,
buyer.
their tone will
Yeah.
tell you, their face will tell you, your KNOW. You know what they knew coming in, what their opinion is, all of that, where it'll enable you to make that decision on the fly, which way to go. All right, we need a distracting behavior to throw at Derek.
Well, I have to go to the bathroom, so I can come in and out.
Let's,
I have a lot of birthday text to read, so I can.
oh yeah, let's do something
That's why I have them.
that creates, let's do something technologically that makes some noise. Hannah, will you hammer away on your computer?
Open and close it multiple times, click, click.
Or just like leave it off, but
Oh.
like you're typing?
I was like, okay.
All right, Claire, would you have Derek come back in, please?
Where's Myers located?
Grand Rapids. I don't know why they're so East Coast aggressive, but they are.
All right, Derek.
Your category performance is struggling. By accepting these 10 recommendations by November 1st, we can get onto the next step in order to optimize your mix, increase your shoppability for your customers, and improve your dollar volume and unit volume. What questions do you have for me?
Keep your volume up as you open it up for questions. What questions do you have?
What questions do you have for me?
Better.
Yes.
The customer you cited in the beginning of your presentation, do they have the same market as I do?
That competitor is in your same market. I can't tell you what, sorry, what did I say here?
I'm just, like, that's really annoying.
Oh.
Okay, take the question from the top. Is that competitor in your same market?
That competitor is in the same market as your store. That's the distraction, isn't
There's
it?
a distraction. All right.
I feel like so mad.
Now,
I had to look at it.
And
Now,
I looked at him and
we
I go,
talked about handling this two ways.
I was out
If
when
it
this
became
happened.
a
to be fair.
distraction.
oh yeah,
to-
he wasn't
Oh,
even
Derek
room.
wasn't even here.
Oh. All right, let's talk about this. How would you handle that, Derek? Someone's tapping away on the computer while you're trying to have your conversation.
And it's
What was
become
that?
distracting to other people.
No, you don't.
Yeah, probably not a good idea. I would ask her, like, is there something bothering you, Kaya?
That I might die at her computer.
If it has become a distraction, and it's clearly showing up in your listeners, can't be unavoided anymore, now is where you just take it with Hannah. And you say, Hannah, we have just a few minutes left on the agenda. Would you mind closing your computer and holding off, or if it's pertinent, taking it outside?
Okay,
Mhm.
so that was the distraction, not you
It was.
laughing. That's what I thought it was.
Dying
Now,
Because honestly, I didn't notice that.
right, now if you can decide to go with a verbal acknowledgement right off the bat, that's about as high up on that dial as it gets.
Okay,
Going right to them. Another thing you can try is simply connecting with Hannah and using movement to walk toward her to see if that remedies the problem.
okay.
Alright? You just opened it up to what questions do you have?
What questions do you have? Yes.
The customer that you referenced in your presentation, were they in the same market as me?
Yes, that customer is in the same market as me. As you, sorry.
Alright, I like the movement. Just make sure you don't now close yourself off to the other listeners. The movement has to stay in the front of the room where you can remain open to all. You would be on this side of the room, walk toward her, in this case, walking right up over her shoulder, probably too much, and you've closed off your other listeners.
Okay,
Alright?
so then what do you suggest here?
I would say, since she's being really persistent with it, let's try the verbal acknowledgement. Just try verbalizing this once.
Verbalizing, like calling her out,
Asking,
or?
keep your hands relaxed, stay unflappable, and now it's gone so high, and this is, you're making the call to verbally acknowledge, asking her to change the behavior. How do you do that?
Okay. Hannah, could you please put away your computer while I answer this question?
Or, it seems like the keystrokes are a distraction to some of the folks in the room. Would you mind, Hannah?
That works too.
Can you just put your computer away?
Yeah. Figured I'd be direct.
All right, another question now for Derek, no distraction. Challenging or not challenging? Let's give him a chance to get through a full answer.
Yes.
What do you think the biggest risk is to your plan?
The biggest risk is not knowing what's going to happen in the future with your category. Obviously, I said that
Answer to all.
before I said that these items were taken out of the competitive market, so it's hard to say how they will fare in
Okay,
your own
jumping
market.
in with Derek. Eye connection. Start with Casey, full sentence or thought, pause. And then one set of eyes as you move off her to answer to all. One sentence or thought to another set of eyes. What's happening is you start with Casey and then there's a dance going on. Who do I look
Yeah.
at next? Practice that skill of eye connection to keep yourself focused. First sentence with Casey.
That's hard to say. These SKUs were taken from your competitive market.
Keeping your arms relaxed.
These items did very well in the competitive market, which is why I took them and I'm recommended for your own assortment mix. By taking these in, it is a risk. However, it can pay huge dividends.
No,
in the
however,
end.
it is a risk, it can pay huge dividends.
It is a risk, but it can.
No but.
It is a risk
That can have huge benefits.
that can have huge benefits to your assortment mix in the future.
How about that? The eye connection piece in these responses is key. Answering to all means one sentence or thought for all the different listeners that you choose to include in the answer. Did you see the difference? What looked different, Casey?
I just think that it was more of like, he was talking to the whole room and making sure that everyone understood the answer and the risk.
I saw more confidence in your response. By staying connected longer without the shift away, looking for another set of eyes, your confidence shines through. You're more solid in your response. Thank you for playing along with the distraction.
Distraction.
I couldn't help it. I was dying over here. You're never letting
Tony,
Kristen
will
make
you
that
step out of the
noise.
room, please?
Really just hammering
Oh,
it out?
Yeah,
but it was
and she like
like
looked over
super
and she was like, should I
loud
keep
in her
going? I was like,
computer.
I did it quietly and then I did it like even louder.
I mean, she was like doggy paddling on her computer.
Did not notice.
Let's have someone be a hijacker, where you come in with your question, so that was a common one in this group. Let's have someone chime in with a question and start just expanding and over-expanding. What questions do you have? Well, I've found that,
He
and just
talks
start
about
providing
the
feedback
Valley Fresh,
instead of having a question.
bird's eye veggie, whatever. Anyone know a lot about frozen veg?
And the actual content doesn't have to be spot on. Really, the idea here is just to try to kind of dominate the room, jump in, can't get in. I want to hear yourself talk.
Katie, you can talk about your pizzas.
I can
Three
hijack
pieces.
first.
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's bring him back in.
So I asked the question too?
Yeah, you can start with the question, or you can just go into more statement and you start expanding. All right, Tony, volume up, hands relaxed. Deliver that closing.
The new Bird's Eye Recipe Ready SKUs are underperforming. We need to delist them in the January reset coming up.
I'm
Delisting
going to
will-
jump in with you, Tony. Take that volume up 3.
Okay,
Let's take this last opportunity of the day to really work the volume and own the room.
got it. Bird's Eye Recipe Ready is underperforming. We need to delist them in January. During the next reset, delisting will provide space for new, meaningful innovation and more productive items. What questions do you have?
No, I think everything you said was definitely relevant, but in my personal research, I've really found that bird's eye vegetables are cutting edge right now. I mean, they are on trend with gluten-free, organic farming. I just, can't imagine taking these off our SKU list right now. I'm just really impressed with how they're doing, and, I really want to see them continue their success in the future. I really just, can't imagine taking them off our shelves right at this point. Everything was very.
All right, Tony, when are you going to jump in? What's going on here, Tony?
She's rambling.
Domination. Jump over. How can you check in with her and regain control?
I was thinking about just like Katie, I don't know, cutting her off, just cut her off, or
How can you do that gracefully?
say her name, maybe say her name, Katie, while she's.
You're arguing you kind of like having them there.
Yeah, I actually didn't get to see his presentation, but I was just going on.
How can you respond to that? When there's a moment where you can jump in, how can you respond to that? She's contradicting your data, hoping you don't pull it off the shelves and dominating the conversation.
This would be ARC. So, Katie, absolutely, Bird's Eye has a phenomenal product. We see across retailers that it's well received. It's actually the #2 share brand in the market. We
Now
need to,
leave. Now leave Katie.
we need to realize though that everything.
We need to realize that everything. No,
We
no.
need to realize that every product a brand launches is not going to succeed. Bird's Eye has many great products. Unfortunately, this launch is just not sticking to the wall.
And he ended elsewhere. How about that? Nice. The challenge in that is finding where to jump in. That's the hardest part. Someone's got a really dominating personality and is just running with it, how to jump in. That takes some assertiveness. It really takes volume. You're absolutely right. Strong product line. Up until now performed really, really well. Numbers just don't show it now. Inserting yourself with high volume, high inflection, going back to those core skills that grab and keep the attention, You'll have to jump in and regain control the moment she gives you the slightest opportunity. Takes a lot of courage. The skills work. Volume, inflection, jumping right in with those skills. Nicely done. Now let's give him a chance to answer another question using the skills, non-challenging.
What questions do you have?
What would you recommend for placement and video of the bird's eye spheres?
Hannah, there are a lot of great innovative products, actually in the frozen veg section.
Let's try that transition one more time without actually.
Okay.
Hannah, there are a lot of great products. Pause, new eyes.
Hannah, there are a lot of great products. At least 60 new products a year, at least 60 new products are launched every year. You will have no trouble finding new innovative products to fill that space.
Feedback for Tony on that response.
Your
Nice
volume
and to the
should burn
point.
off a little bit at the end of it, but otherwise.
Okay.
When your volume is high, your presence completely changes.
Yes, completely.
Completely changes. Keep it high throughout the whole sentence. Nice deep breath to fuel it so it doesn't trail off at the end. Checked back in with Hannah for some closure. Nicely done. Round of applause for
I have a question.
Yes.
So if you're like wrapping it up and you're in the Q&A, or even if it's during the middle of a presentation, and it starts to get really number heavy, and someone's like, well, how far down are the bird's eyes? Like, and you don't have all the numbers memorized, should you like reference something that you have in front of you to continue the conversation, or do you say, I'd have to get back to you on that? Like,
If you
you're gonna
have the
to
numbers
dig-
accessible,
like probably in backup somewhere, would you recommend like flipping through the pages to try to find the answers to that and really dig into the numbers, or say that you'll follow up with them?
one of two ways. If you have time on the agenda and you know where to very resourcefully go find that in your data, go for it.
Okay.
I've got that right here on page 15. Let's go there now. Go there, bottom right-hand quadrant, red part of the pie chart. If you can get there resourcefully and quickly, and there's time to sidebar off your agenda to go there, go for it. If not, you're feeling pressed for time to stay on track, okay, all of that information is in that reference material. Check in with me. As soon as we wrap, I'll get you right to it.
Okay.
Hannah.
Please no, that's
All right, outside of the room, please, Hannah. Let's have a sidebar conversation. You're good at those. I'm not sure. All right, we'll have a sidebar conversation, see how Hannah manages it.
Thanks.
And let's let Hannah back in the room.
What are we talking about?
All right, Hannah, what skill am I going to ask you to just go for it on this last taping? Volume, yes, volume. Let's hear it. Blow us away on this closing, Hannah.
Embracing work style differences can only bring greater cohesion in the office place. Start a conversation in your office today with your managers and your direct reports. Together at General Mills, we can continue to innovate and solve unique problems.
Relax those hands and open it up.
What questions do you have?
Keep the volume high. Don't drop the volume just because you're done with the talk.
What questions do you have?
What work style do you feel is best in the office place?
I noticed the distraction, but I don't know how to address it.
Good, you caught it. It's a distraction. What would be step one? If you wanted to turn that temperature dial just on low, how could you manage that?
Speak louder.
up your volume. What else could you do?
Big gestures.
Could take some eye connection, even though you don't have their eyes, connect with them, step toward them.
I had a question about walking because earlier when Derek walked behind here, it was cutting others off from the conversation. So how do I
Yes.
move
When they're not far away.
towards them when they're all the way
Versus
over
We definitely want to stay open to the group. The movement that you use, you're limited in a boardroom style, you have to make use of it. It would be awkward if suddenly you kept talking and walked right up behind and hovered behind them when you hadn't been for the last 20 minutes anywhere but in front of the room. That movement in this boardroom style might just be eye connection on Nicole, even though she's not looking, and 2 steps in her direction, upping the volume. Let's try that.
What work styles do you think are best?
I don't believe that there's particular work styles that work the best. There's different styles that can work cohesively together, and as a team, you can figure out what different styles are present in the room and take advantage of those differences.
Nicely managed, and it worked.
Yeah.
It diffused the
Don't
situation. Another question. How about that volume?
I didn't know it was in her.
Say it again.
I said I didn't know it was in her.
It's in her. It really changes things. What, Kaya, what's different?
It's also a really great answer to a question that could have been really tricky. Because of asking what's the best work style, I feel like that's a really easy quick sandpit to get yourself into. I think you did a really good job of getting to the point that it's not about best, it's what works
Right.
together.
Let's give Hannah one more question, non-challenging. I want to really push you on 2 things, keeping that volume up the entire time, 1 sentence or thought per set of eyes. Stay focused. What other questions do you have?
What other questions do you have?
Volume up.
Lindsay?
What's common practice that we can incorporate currently, just in our daily lives regarding diversity and everything?